Plus, if you listen to the same guy for the rest of your life, like, that'd suck.
You can literally.
You should tell that to the Christians. I'm sorry, that was a bad one.
No, that was great.
That was
hilarious.
bad.
Oh, Tyler.
John,
You
got
to mix it up every couple of years, you know?
John, I'll repent after this one.
That's fine. Your day is
Confess.
coming.
3, 2, 0, go!
Welcome
Back to
To the LooneyBin Podcast,
Experience,
Yeah,
Experience.
the experience.
a live interactive show.
where we tell you
What?
you don't want to hear.
Amen.
Audience, applaud. Thank you. There we go.
Well, I'm John,
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Cole.
and the reason why we were late today was I was trying to buy the first gen Xbox, and so then I go out to it was
I remember seeing the messages about this one.
Micro Center, and I got an Xbox. It was about for $75, and I got one game.
You did this?
Yeah, and the
Why'd you do this?
Well, why not?
Fair
He's a
enough.
collector. you
Well,
know.
because there's one reason why I want to do this is because there's one game. It's called WWE. and then-
Battlefront 1.
No, it's WWE. And then when you actually wrestle, the two girls are fighting. You can hit X stick multiple times to try to rip off like their whatever like uniform.
Oh,
they're
rip off
wearing.
their clothes?
Yeah, technically.
Nice.
And that's why I was too busy doing that.
Little after hours?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get it off.
Damn. Yeah.
Couldn't get what off.
Yeah, that's John.
Yeah, many things.
We'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there.
Anyways, I want to talk about just to start off the podcast. So it's been a while since I've been on. Actually,
Yeah, me too.
Same.
it's been it's been like a month. For
Got
me,
3
probably.
sleepers. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the last time I was on.
You were on with the U of M crew.
Oh,
you,
yeah,
Patty, and,
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Patty, and Eric.
Two to
Patrick's
three.
Puzzle. Yeah, go
Yeah.
check that video out if you haven't seen it already.
That was a good vid. That was a good vlog.
Yeah, it was
Vid,
good. It was a good vibe.
podcast.
It was fun.
Everything else.
Anyways.
Oh, you go.
What?
How's
I was just going to lead it.
Oh, God, we really. Could someone get the teleprompter to work here? We can't actually read it.
Yeah, line.
Yeah, line. No, but I was going to say that it was kind of weird because it was like I was getting used to them watching it live, which is kind of, and then it kind of makes you miss it a lot more of being on it.
Right.
So it was like, oh, it's good to actually feel the lights and have a mic in your hand with a drink, and time just falls away from you.
Yeah, flies right by. It's good you're watching the streams though.
I can. I try
Yeah.
to. Some oftentimes I'm cooking or doing something else. So I'll watch probably about like 70 to 65% of it.
That's good. Those are good numbers.
But then I watch it back, which I kind of like watching it back to see the views.
Yeah.
Or like with the producer part of it on YouTube, you can see where people watch the most on it, right? Am I right
Oh.
in saying that?
Well, you would know if you've
Yeah,
done it.
I swear I did it. And so they usually show like the times, like, oh, most people stop watching here.
Sure.
And most people started or skipped to this part or something like that. And so it's kind of intriguing. Like, do people immediately start the video of our podcast and they're like, we're going to skip the first 30 minutes and we're going to go right in the middle where you don't
Yeah.
know what everyone's talking about? Because pretty
Yeah.
soon it's just is like the intro of the video of like kind of displaying a preview of the podcast is probably not what we're talking about 30 minutes in.
Yep.
There's a 0% chance that we're on one topic for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that is true.
Tonight could be the night.
No.
All right, pick the topic, Cole. You volunteered.
Oh Lord.
Give me 30 minutes of content right now.
30 minutes of content right
See,
here.
that's not our niche. That's not our niche.
No.
I actually did
It's
have
far too
something.
eclectic for that.
I did have a little something,
You
which
came
is
with prep?
yeah. I prepared my opening here for the chess game, but no, I was gonna say I was never a podcast person really, but I think being part of this whole process and such, and then getting into the, well, for me an 8 to 5 because my job loves a nice 9-hour workday, but getting into it. I was never a podcast person, but like that's something that's easy to do for me when I'm actually working. So I've gotten into I'll shout him out. Great guy, Therapy Gecko. But yeah,
I don't know
like,
what that is.
you know, Therapy Gecko.
Me neither.
He does a little podcast where
Oh,
he
is he the
just
guy who dressed up like a frog?
yeah,
the green guy?
like a gecko.
I always thought it was a frog.
That's why his name's Therapy Gecko.
I never knew his name.
It felt like you were gonna say something really just out of there because you're like, fine, guys, I'll do it. I'm gonna shout him out, and then this is like, I was like, oh god, I was kind of maybe I see.
It's Frog Guy. Yeah, I see Frog Guy's clips on TikTok every once in a while. Pretty funny guy.
But yeah,
Interesting callers.
it's like I've kind of come to realize where the podcast niche sits in my life. Where it's like I don't like it as travel. Like if I'm going somewhere, I'm not a as I'm driving podcast person. But when I'm sitting there and like today specifically, I had to set up 3 computers, and I just want to. How long do you think it takes to set up a computer?
Like
Brand new computer. You're running updates, installing like 3 things.
Oh, 3
like
hours.
set it up for your company.
3
Well, I'm setting up for other companies.
2.5, 3 hours.
I don't know. I was gonna guess like 4 minutes.
For an unpersonalized computer, it takes me at least 30 minutes per computer to set up.
Jeez.
And most of that
way
is
off.
sitting there because for some unknown reason,
It's always happens to Tyler, guys.
whenever you get a new computer, I mean, I get why they're not like fully up to date, like they don't have all the updates installed, but Windows updates take damn near 20 to 30 minutes on their own. And it's like one update, and it makes no sense why it takes that long.
It couldn't just come pre-installed. That's amazing.
So I just sit there. Most of my job today was sitting there and watching. It's not even a progress bar. I don't even get to watch something move. I just get to watch numbers change slowly, mind-numbingly slow. And the best part is, it doesn't, go by 1% or anything like that. It's just like randomly you'll get like 8%.
Yep.
And you're like, wow, that was a great 15 minutes. I guess I'll sit here and do more.
Yeah, listen to some podcasts, play a little chess,
Not a lot. It's a
No.
lot of solitaire.
solitaire.
See, this is, if you guys really want to understand how this whole process is, we did a live stream, actually, of building a PC. And for a good part of that live stream, it was showing what was happening to Nate of trying to, like, boot up an actual, like, a Windows, what was it, like a processor 7, iCore 7 or something like that. Try to boot up, just waiting for something to connect. Oh, nothing? All right, let's just blow off some dust in there. Which is different than what's Tyler doing, but a little glimpse of it would probably be in that video, actually. But
It's just a dream, and it's the fact that it's something that's brand new, and that's kind of wild. It's weird that that's kind of the mentality that at least I've gotten into, and I feel like a lot of people are into now, where it's like you expect something that's brand new to just work like perfectly and just instantly right away,
right.
And it never does.
and it never does.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the time, I've got the dispatcher calling me being like, hey, could you help this person with something? I'm like, all right. Then I go in and I go, all right, so type in your password. And then they type in their password. And then I'm like, is that the right password? And they're like, yep. And then I go reset their password, and it was the wrong password the whole time.
Classic.
I honestly feel like it's like when you get a new phone, I also think that too. Because now, like smartphones, you can do like a wireless like you get the same everything that was on your phone visually,
Yep.
and it just transfers over almost in the same app order too most of
Yeah.
the time
Yeah.
onto the new phone. But it takes so long. I think like when you go in their store, like when you buy everything else and you try to do it in the store, it takes like an hour and a half to get everything done. Then it needs to be charged, and it loses charge as you're trying to get it done. But this year actually was the first year where I was able to take it home, take my old phone home, and then I was able to do it while being here at home instead of doing it at a Verizon store. And then I just shipped the old phone in.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
That's how I've always done it.
Oh, well, maybe it's just a North Dakota blip, but
Yeah, maybe an Android thing. I don't know.
no, it's definitely not. An
Yeah,
Android
you
thing.
would, little iPhone user.
Yeah.
It's been pretty seamless for me. You always just you turn the new one on, you click restore backup from the cloud. It does its thing, real easy. You put the other one in the envelope, and you're done.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just assumed that it should just be like, why is it not 20 minutes? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then
that's
I
fair.
think it's just because everything now should just be on the
Instant,
cloud.
yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of that, on the cloud, I was thinking of doing relating to AI. So this is what I kind of want to talk about or wanted to talk about on the podcast. Was about these songs being generated. I don't know what flipped. It was like a week once Drake's song came out of his new Search and Rescue or whatever, and then there was rumors of being AI, and now I keep seeing more stuff that is
Yeah.
AI. Like, oh, like Nate and I were just talking about like X to Golden Hour versus like on this other guy's song, but they put X's voice for it. It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, what? Kind of mind blown that AI can do that now. And then also like, I haven't seen anything of what artists have said about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, has anyone seen what Drake has said about kind of creating a hit? And everyone's like, oh, this is gnarly. This is the song of the summer, quote unquote. And I haven't heard him say anything. Like, when you look it up on like YouTube Music or something, it says Drake.
I mean,
As the
I
artist.
was completely unaware of this entire
I was
debacle.
gonna
Actually,
say I know absolutely nothing about Drake, so I'm in the dark here.
Well, I guess I'm not even talking about like the artist, but it just is kind of like that is wild to me now that someone can just take their voice
Yeah.
and create a new song for them without is the artist really protected at all?
Yeah. No, it's fucked. You would assume that the artist would be benefiting from it more than whoever's cucking them,
Right.
because it would still be them gaining the publicity and probably under their name. But it is a little fucked. It reminds me, you know, those little like videos you see where it's like Joe Biden and Trump and Elon like playing Minecraft together, and it's all
Oh,
AI
those are awesome.
voiceovers. God, I
Yeah.
love it because
I mean-
it sounds so real. You just have them like bickering and fucking on each
Yeah.
other over nonsense.
Here's the thing, though. I've gotten
God, I
so
love it.
many of these AI like generated voices
Yep.
that I've developed in my mind the cadence at which they talk.
Oh.
Like I feel like I can tell when it's an AI generated voice now
Yeah.
Oh wow.
because they all have the same cadence. Like I mean, it's the thing. Robots don't have emotion.
Yeah.
Like
You could
they
probably
don't
program it.
understand.
They
You
just
could
haven't
probably
yet.
program it in,
Yeah.
but like at least at this level, the voices that people are using aren't to the point where like you can actually
Yeah.
hear. Like it doesn't sound exactly like the person if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Like I feel like it's kind of the same deal as like auto-tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
makes sense.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That's pretty good. Well, it's just kind of weird because it's like, are we closer to now that new music coming out is going to be potentially to the point where it's a random guy just using AI generator,
Yeah.
and then we're hearing a song like, oh yeah, this is good, and then us not knowing that it's even AI. You know, like, is there going to be talent anymore?
Well, I mean, they've been. You could say the same thing kind of about like ghostwriters
Yeah.
and shit like that. Like, academic dishonesty has always been a problem. It's always going to be a problem. It's just another fucking vessel for it.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't think super hard about it, but it is a little scary.
Oh, it just feels just genuine. Or,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference when you're listening to when Juice WRLD came out with like a new song, so like a robbery as like a
Yeah.
tease, you know, whatever. Like, oh wow, this sounds so good, even though I knew he used auto-tune. I knew he used like a bunch of other stuff, but it was a
Yep.
good like song.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, if I heard of that and it's like, oh, Juice WRLD made another song now
Yeah.
after he's dead,
Yeah.
and then it's AI generated, still sounds good, but it's not gonna hit the same. Would I still listen to it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
don't know.
weird. It's
Like,
like,
it's
a moral.
still-
it's not a moral thing, but is it a moral thing?
I don't know if it's a moral thing, but it's definitely like it triggers like emotion for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think it's gonna get to the point where, well, I mean, it probably already is. I mean, you were talking about the Drake thing, where it's like, even, I feel like people are gonna start getting accused of using AI to do it,
I didn't
Yeah.
think of that.
and like, how do you even prove that you're not?
Yeah.
Because I mean, all of the recordings through I feel like the only way that they could prove that they're not is just by uploading videos of them in a studio.
Yeah.
But also,
You could probably like
who the fuck cares?
backtrack it and find the code somehow. But at the same time, like, it's the same thing as ghostwriters to me. Like, it's still someone like kind of being a fucker, and like
Yeah.
they might catch a little flack for it in the press, but that's never been a big problem.
No, people are still listening to it. They still get paid.
Yeah, like
Doesn't matter.
John Williams is still considered the greatest movie composer of all time.
yeah,
Hey,
still
I'll argue that,
considered, yeah.
Tyler.
Yeah.
I'd say he's at least number 2.
Number 2. And
Wait, who's
and
number
he's
one
not
then?
too.
Hans Zimmer.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, like, so for me, it's just like, I mean, I just don't have the mental bandwidth to care about that all the time. I mean, if it still
Right.
hits, it still hits. It's still
Yeah.
art.
Yeah,
It's just a new wave. Like, people were talking shit like, oh, we can't be using the synths. We got to do it all, like, all natural.
I feel like what it could
dumb.
add is an emphasis on live performance.
I mean, then it's
Like
the
I
same
think
thing
it
with
might
auto-tune.
make
Yeah.
yeah, but like with auto-tune and live performances, you can tell, or like when they've got backtracks
Like
and stuff.
Travie, when he's
Yeah.
just like, hey,
And it just sounds like,
put her down.
It's like every concert you go to, you can hear it.
yeah,
And I mean, everybody uses it. It's just a good tool to use.
yeah. And
I
I'm sure
feel
that
like
in
we've grown
5, 10
accustomed to
years,
it,
they'll
but-
say the same thing about the AI.
I
It's
don't
just
think they
another
will.
tool.
I don't think they will for live performances, purely because if you're just using the AI for it, then it's
Yeah.
like, what's the point of you even being
well,
there?
well, here's the thing, though. Is this is
To
like,
be the showman.
for example, if Drake didn't make this song, he put Drake's voice in it,
Yep.
he did all these other stuff for AI generated. Why it would be a dumb idea for him not just to go out to a place and then do the song anyways. You know he's gonna be able to learn it. You know he can sing it the same way. It's just as like, I feel like when you're going to a concert live, like I would love to go to a Drake concert at some point in my life, but sometimes those concerts with those big name artists are like unfeasible to go to.
Literally.
Like you have to plan for like a couple years in advance, almost. No,
Practically, yeah. Well,
You know, it's a Tuesday
Save
at
money,
9:30, and
technically.
it's $3,000 to attend.
yeah.
It's like these damn Taylor Swift concerts. Seeing
That's what
that
they're
shit
talking about.
just makes me angry.
yeah.
I cannot believe, like, people will be posting videos on TikTok to like, wow, I can't believe I paid $2,000 for this seat and this
For
girl's
3.5
scream
hour
singing behind
concert.
me. And I'm like, you're behind the stage. You paid $2,000 for this?
To be behind the
You're
stage.
already the sucker. Like, why are you upset at this point? You paid
True.
$2,000. You waited 4 hours in a football field length line to get merch.
You know what's
Like,
even,
what are you getting upset about?
Yeah.
the concert is crazy long too with the opener. I think the opener takes an hour. I wouldn't quote myself. I think the opener takes an hour itself, and then she sings for like 2.5 or something. The weirdest thing was I saw actually a superintendent sent in something of like to the students of his high school, where he goes. He was practically saying, the gist of it was he's saying like, hey, this is not an excused absence for you to go to a Taylor Swift concert.
What?
But, well, he's like, it's not
People have gotten out of school for way less than
Way
going to a
less,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift
I know,
concert.
but the reason why he said he's like, it's not going to be an excused absence, but he said it was like a kind of letter like this, you know, but he used multiple, I would say at least 25 different titles in as he's writing of Taylor Swift stuff. So he's like, I better not mark you red for tomorrow, or like, please don't let there be a blank space in your chair. It was so
Because if you
cringy.
go to this, I knew you were trouble when you walked in.
Yeah, you know, literally.
When you didn't walk in.
So it's like,
Yeah.
it was actually kind of funny, but it's also good for her, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like,
no, she's killing
like,
it.
it,
Good
like
for
you're
her.
you're doing nuts things for having people just selling out like thousands of dollars per ticket, or like people
Yeah.
just like eager to get on, and then they somehow like, oh, sold out, boom, they don't have nothing as you
Yeah.
wait for the minute.
No,
to
she's
stop.
killing it
No,
just like
I
she's
hate it.
killing our Earth.
Is she? Flying the jets.
Yeah,
all
Yeah,
over?
there's
there's the
a-
private jets.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot
There's
about
there's a
that.
graphic of like Taylor Swift's carbon impact is greater than basically any other human, like singular person on the earth.
Yeah, that's probably pretty skewed when you account for. Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
All
we're-
right,
this is Cole's major.
Yeah. All right, let's
That's
not get into
that's
that
probably,
one.
Probably a little fucked when you think about the people who enable all of the mining in the first place.
That's true. But all I have to say is
Cole.
I respect the hustle, but I don't respect Taylor Swift.
And see,
Like I think she's fine as a person. I just
don't
cannot
like the music, yeah.
understand. I'm even fine with the music. I don't understand her fans' mentalities.
what is a good comparable to Taylor Swift's mentality of fans to like another artist?
Honestly, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that is the only other like
Yeah.
that significant group or artist that you can compare her to.
You know what
It's
my
probably
favorite?
true.
I actually really did like her Evermore album. That's the one album I really did like.
I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
listened to a full Taylor Swift
Yeah, I
album.
certainly haven't. I've listened.
Oh, I only listen. It's a different vibe, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely different. But I do kind of like the story of it and all. And like, okay, great. And then you made some songs about. I feel like people would go to backlash this too. But some of the songs, I guess, you can really draw to like a relation. Some people can draw a relation, or maybe a lot of people to like significance of the meaning of that song, or like some
Yeah.
guy breaking the heart or whatnot. Which is like that's why. But I don't know. It's kind of like.
I think the way that I see it is everything she sings about, 100 other people have done the exact same, like told the exact same story in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's just why is her version the one that gets all of the credibility, why is this like the way that you should be feeling about it?
Well, it's like it's exponential. Like once you
Yeah,
have that
that's
large of an
true.
audience, if you make something good, just because someone with a smaller audience has made it before, they're just not going to receive the same recognition. It just
'Cause
is
we're all
what it is.
sheep.
In a way,
Yeah,
it's almost
she,
like
she makes relatable stuff. It is what it is.
It's like rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's it like? There is a difference from me listening to like a Kodak song to a Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah, that's
But
different.
after the time when I'm listening to it, though, like, or look at the lyrics, all of it is either gibberish or just going yeah.
There's a lot of overlapping
ad-lib,
subject matter,
or
yeah.
something like that. But it just is like I like it though. Why would I
Yeah.
not go to a concert of it?
Yeah.
So it's like
You're there for a good time. You're not
Yeah.
there to be
and
necessarily
I agree with
intellectually
you, but it's just
stimulated.
is like it's such a never-ending art. It's so arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah.
it's like why would I go to Dvorak and then the next day I go to Bruckner? Well, I can tell you the difference why, but to another listener they wouldn't actually be
true.
like it's the same thing.
Yeah. No, I saw a really interesting, or just I don't know, not necessarily interesting, but just relatable tweet today, where they were talking about art and how like, oh, you use art to decorate the walls in your home and all this space, and then they made the comparison to music as well. You're not decorating space, you're decorating time. So you have all this time in your life,
that's great.
and you need to put something in the background, and it's not gonna be a poster. It's gonna be something that fills up the time. And I just thought it was really nice.
You know why I love that?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go like this to you. Penalty box minute. But the reason is because I look at, and I feel like
Slashing.
Preston does this too. But when we go into like a place that we had for multiple years, like I have a playlist that's just more of like hip hop rap
Yeah.
that started from 2016
Yep.
to now. And if I put it on shuffle, or
Yeah.
if I don't even put it on shuffle, I just scroll to one spot in there where I added
And
the
you're like,
songs.
that was that month.
Yep,
And
I
it
know
takes you
exactly what
back.
it was. I
Yep.
know like what I was doing, and it's
Yeah.
like I remember driving, and then I go a little bit forward. Oh, 2020. Oh, this song was a bang, and
Yeah.
the hype is so real because of the slot and time it has.
Yeah, it's an archive.
Yeah.
That's-
Through your own life.
That's the crazy thing about music is it's actually the medium that sticks with people who have Alzheimer's the longest.
Really.
People, so like you hear all these stories of people who have very severe Alzheimer's, but like I mean a lot of people who are like musicians specifically, but you know, I who knows, it might not affect people who are non-musicians that just listen to music casually as much. But people who are musicians, they might not remember basically even who they are. But say it's a pianist, you put them at the piano and they're still able to play
Yeah.
things from
Wow.
memory.
Yeah, so it's like a different type of memory.
Well, it uses everything. Music
Yeah.
uses almost like to play from memory. I guess it's like different than. I think it's absolutely different than me reciting a speech
Yeah.
from memory.
I'd be really interesting to look at brain scans of the people with Alzheimer's while they're playing the piano and then while
Yeah.
you ask them questions about their life and see what parts of your brain are firing and how they are able to do that so well but struggle so much with
Random things.
verbalizing random things. Yeah.
There's a weird thing where there's like obviously we know like with all the people with Alzheimer's there's like up and downs and days. You know what I mean? Someday. And then sometimes this happened like to some other people I know where it just is like it happens where it's looking bad, you know, kind of like everyone go meet them, say your goodbye. You know, you kind of almost start the initial process of grieving
Yep.
almost.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, boom, fine. And then they just remember everything.
Yeah.
And then they're able to talk pretty lively, you
Yeah.
know, they're keeping up with conversation. And then it kind of goes back to whatever. It just is the craziest thing to me of
Yeah.
like Alzheimer's and everything else.
I actually have something with that, and it's related to music. There was a guy. I don't remember his name. It's like the creator, or Preston, maybe if you're feeling it, you could look it up. There is a. It was a guy who made an entire musical project around
Oh.
the idea of Alzheimer's, and he made 6 albums. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a 6-hour long, like, listen, but they're all meant to be like put together, where each album represents like a different stage of Alzheimer's, and it carries you through that entire process. And like I've just
Wow.
seen people who've commented, like, listened to the whole thing. Like, I think it's The Caretaker. I believe that's who it is. And people who have listened to it say it's like one of the most profound things that they've ever listened to in their life. But it's like you have to sit there and listen through all 6 hours of it.
Just to fully
it's like-
understand.
So he starts with just regular tracks of just, it's kind of like nostalgic kind of sounding music. I think it's music from like the 40s or something.
Is it like
40s,
playlists or
50s.
stuff that he composed?
So he took things that already existed.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the first album, it's basically just the music.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds completely normal. And then he electronically manipulates every track afterwards, and he just slowly like degrades them to the point where it's just unrecognizable.
Is it the same the same songs like matching up on the next album, just edited each way through, or is it a totally new set of songs that's been edited differently?
It's essentially the same. I believe it's the same songs, but they're not like matched up. It's not like track 1 is the same on every single one.
Okay.
Because some of them have like 12 tracks, and then like when you get to the last album, there's like 8, and
Yeah.
they're just way longer.
Yeah.
But it's like it follows that degradation, and he did like I don't know how many years, but it was like a multi-year project
Jeez.
of like researching Alzheimer's and everything, and then creating this album about it.
Sounds incredible. I want to listen to it now.
Well, see, and that's
Oh, what are you doing on Sunday?
On Sunday? I guess we'll
Stream
find out.
it.
6 hours.
6
Oh
hour
my
stream
God.
of us listening to that album.
But
Tune in.
that's the thing though with music though, is this is like that would be the best way for people to somehow maybe understand what Alzheimer's is, because music consistently, like every time if you go somewhere else and you understand a piece of music, or even if you don't, it's going to make you feel a certain way. So especially like with Tyler and I studying music, if you understand a piece and understand the motivation behind it and I have analyzed it, when you get there, you feel the certain things what they're trying to do. And there's nothing like that feeling, probably, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's nothing like a sense that you touch something, you feel what's going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or there's not like something you or like taste or see. It's all
Yeah.
just, to me. Well, actually, see, I could see that in like a ballet or some sort of modern dance. Maybe you could do something close like, but the music though is still along with it.
Like if you feel connected to the person who made the music,
Yeah,
or
or
you
just
reach that level of understanding.
it's almost timeless though.
Yeah.
Everything that they wanted to do. Like a perfect example I always find is like any person's nocturnes, whether it's Liszt, Chopin, like I mean there's anyone that could just, their nocturnes are, it's a lot of the times it's like a love song or pretend, you know, like, but
Usually
you can
love or grieving.
yeah, but you can feel it though. And
Yeah.
the piano is so perfect with that because you could change. I'm going out of a tangent, but the last part of it is that like a piano, you can change everything that you want to do to make it sound. So like if you want to be soft, you can be hard, you can be like all stringed together, very staccato, like it's all in
Yeah.
one instrument.
Yep.
And but like, you know what I mean? Like I would have never known that if I was just listening to it and it was just blah, but you know what I mean? If I listen to it and I'm actually listening, active listening is even better. So side note, one thing I've been trying to do even a lot more now is I'm trying to active listen in every genre of music.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
I have noticed that. That is when I do actually play music at work and I actively listen to it. And like I listen for the lyrics. I listen to like how the lyrics connect with, you know, are they moving up or down in the song? What are they doing? You know, is this supposed to be a big moment, a little moment? When you actually do that, there's a lot of music that, you know, I wouldn't consider as like, incredibly profound that still has that same effect, because it's at the end of the day kind of somebody putting what they are feeling into it. Like it's just this weird intangible little feeling of emotion that you cannot get in any other form. But, that's me saying it as a music person. I'm sure people who love paintings and things like that also kind of get that in, like, how the brush strokes were made and how they decided to sculpt this guy's leg,
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
it's
like,
really interesting. I love hearing you guys talk about it because I mean, I love music. I listen to it all the time, but
Yeah.
I'm not someone who's studied really any of the theory or I guess know enough about it to maybe make quite that level of analysis.
You don't need to.
Like, but
That's
what I
the
would
best
compare
part.
it to is like when I listen to an album for the first time, a lot of times I'll be doing something else and not paying that good of attention. It's like it just kind of ends up being background noise, especially if you're like working out or I don't know, driving or something. You can't necessarily like focus that well. And then I'll be like, that was whatever. And then a week or two will go by and I'll come back and listen to it again and I'll just be sitting in my
Yeah.
room doing absolutely nothing but like active listening like you're saying and really listening to the words, not even like all the musical components but just like that surface level, I guess. And it's a whole new story that's being told, right?
Oh
A
yeah.
completely different thing that you're listening to. But it's hard to find time to do that when it feels like 95 or more percent of the time that I get to listen to music is when it's just there for like little extra stimulation, the cherry on top when I'm doing other shit.
Yeah.
You know?
To keep your brain kind of like, oh, this is enjoyable to do.
Yeah, exactly. Like especially when you're working out,
Yeah.
like none of the music I listen to when I work out is like music that I would listen to outside of that environment.
Really?
It's not stuff, well, most of the time. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
stuff where I would sit down and listen to it because I love the music. It's just there to make my brain like flip into that, I don't know, like energetic
Aggression.
mode, aggressive mode to
Yeah.
like run fast or put up more weight or whatever it is. Just I guess
Motivating.
get focused
Mm-hmm.
and intentional with it. So yeah, I guess I'd like to find some more time to just reconnect with the music itself, I guess.
this is something that I found actually, because my buddy recommended it. And this was during one of those very short times in my life where I actually worked out during college. And I went like, I don't know, 3-4 times.
Yep.
But he said, listen to Beethoven, I think it was either 2 or 3.
It's been 3.
I think it was the Third
It had to
Symphony.
be.
He
Veronica.
said, listen to Beethoven 3 while you're working out. And I was just running on a treadmill. But it's like, it's weird how you can, I think it works especially well with running because you don't really have to think about running. Like you're just,
it's kind of just
running.
rhythmic, almost meditative.
but like even classical can kind of give me that same feeling as if I were listening to a workout playlist.
The little get up and go.
I've done that before.
And if you just like act, and that's the thing, it's like if you're actively listening to it as you're, running on the treadmill, it is kind of a wild experience where it's like, people from, I'm blanking here, 300 years ago,
Sure.
200 years ago.
I
When was
believe it.
Beethoven alive? I'm
Oh.
bad at music history too. Anyways,
Somewhere,
But,
somewhere between
they-
the 15 and 1800s, I guess.
it's just like, as I'm thinking about this, it's like, were they like humming this to themselves as they were, running throughout their day?
Yeah.
Like, would you just
Well, they
hum
didn't
this
have
little
AirPods,
this
so-
little ditty to yourself?
But I don't know. And see, that's another thing where it's like Cole was talking about how you take the time to like actively listen, which is true, right? There's some songs which are just so easy to listen to that like, oh, you're humming it as you work.
It's just catchy. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
it's-
admit it. Shake It Off by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I love it.
Well, it's a great pep band
Yeah,
song.
Gucci on.
Yeah, Gucci on.
Ready by Lil Baby and Gunna.
Cocaine,
Yeah, Cocaine Jesus.
pure cocaine,
Cocaine Jesus by Rainbow.
full volume in
Um,
public.
But I was gonna say like I do miss that though the most out of everything else. Is that like it's just as like I'm hearing all this stuff, you know what I mean, and then you slowly understand a little bit more. And that's what I miss the most is like analyzing. So I would say I probably analyze like a piece once a week. But or it could be a movement of a
Yeah.
piece, or like maybe never like a whole symphony. But I do it only just for the fact of like I could keep that skill going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I still have that skill, but it just is like there comes a series of notes where I'm like, I actually don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And then it's like sometimes you don't always have to describe what it is, you know, it's just a passing tone or whatever else. But it's the fact of me like I have to use my ear, I have to play it back and I listen to it again. Or if maybe I don't, you know what I mean?
And
You have
just
to
pick all
think.
the
You have to
little
put it
pieces
against
apart.
that
Yeah,
knowledge that you have.
But then when you're done with it, say the movement's only 10 minutes, you're done with it, did maybe even a general, really loose, not transcribe, but like analyzing of it, analysis. Then once you go back to listen to it, amazing. I love when we go to Minnesota Orchestra, which is like my new favorite hobby, finding a good concert to go to Minnesota Orchestra, studying the score before, go to it, and I'm like, boom, right there in my score.
Next year's
Yeah.
schedule's released today.
Yeah, I know. So it's so exciting because Tyler understands it too, but
You guys
Tyler
are
does a better
fuckers.
job of like,
Hey, you like the Wolves. I like the orchestra.
I hate the Wolves.
yeah.
Well, we all hate the Wolves,
Yeah, we
but
all do. But
I hope they're losing right now.
Hey, at least
I hope
they have a
one of
good
them's
theme song.
listening right now.
Raised by the Wolves, Big Sean, right?
How many points does Cat have? -5?
They ruined that song. It was good before the Wolves adopted it.
I didn't even know. To personally be honest, I did not know that was a theme song until Preston said, because I said, you want to know an
Yeah.
old song I was listening to? Preston goes, that's a Wolves theme song. I was like, that makes sense, but damn, that
Yep,
sucks.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like this is like.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
really?
Wait, why do they play tomorrow?
Because Preston's here right now.
Oh wait, no, they played on. They have 2 days in between their game. How does this work?
Well, it's
All right, well-
still should be in Denver.
All I know is I'm watching the Wild game. Fuck the Wolves.
Yeah.
Wild win.
Did you guys see, kind of shifting parts here? Did you guys ever like get any information about was it not a SpaceX launch and they got canceled again? Like the first, I
No.
could be wrong. Press, I need your help on this, but I believe it was like the first test run of like potentially like humans being in the shuttle. Was it not?
I have no idea.
Like not humans in the shuttle, but like a public transport almost in a way. Preston needs to help me out on here.
Public transportation to space?
Well, no, it's just like sending the first people up, like a big group of people, I
Sure.
thought. But it was canceled again for this month.
Huh.
It
I had
was
no
ca- it
idea
was the
any of
same-
this was going on.
I need to wait for Preston to kind of like, it's like one of those things you need to say something, and it's
I mean,
like, boom, I
I'd
know.
believe you, but it's just like
Why?
at this point, it's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
One
I
of
don't
the
know.
things-
The,
I would-
the luster's wearing off for me.
Is it
Yeah.
Especially
Now
when
all I
it
can
comes to
think of is-
SpaceX, it's
all I can
like
think of is carbon.
carbon? Nah, I'd be, well, I mean, yeah, cool. But I mean, also I would take a trip up to space.
Yeah.
And that'd be number one thing if I had one, top 10 wishes.
Yeah. Oh,
it'd be close
super
to number
cool.
3,
Yeah.
or like top 3, and it would be for me just to be up there, put in some headphones, hit a satellite real quick, get that Wi-Fi rolling, and then
vote.
listen to Mahler 3.
Mahler 3.
Yeah, and just float.
But the thing is, you can float here on Earth already.
Yeah,
You
I
don't have to
know,
be up there.
but it's just not. It's blackness. It's
No,
it's
I get it.
Emptiness.
I've dreamt about it for years.
I
Like,
know,
it's
it's
one of the
fast.
one of the coolest things you think about as a kid. Like, yeah, I want to go to space. I want to be.
John,
an astronaut,
for
of
your
course.
birthday, I'm gonna put you in a
Bottle
deprivation
rocket.
chamber.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Just-
we'll go to the Dead Sea.
It's
and
gonna
put
be
a
one of those
blindfold
things
on
that
you.
have like
that's another
you're in a little pool of water. Actually, no, isn't it oil? You put your
I think
in
it's
oil
just very
because you're more
salty
flammable.
water. Very
Salt
salty
water, yep,
water.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Is it
You'll
behind
just
you?
float there. Pitch black.
We'll suck you off.
Yep. Wait. Hold on.
Okay. Sure. If I can't see it, I don't know who's doing it.
The grapefruit.
You'll
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's the grapefruit technique. This guy Preston did not know what the grapefruit technique
He had
was
never
until
heard
like
of
2
it.
days ago.
No. Oh no.
No, I'm sure John, do you know?
John asked it.
John, explain it to me. John, explain to me what the grapefruit technique is right now.
You have to go like this. You cut out the grapefruit,
Yep.
and then go in and go.
All right.
All right.
I need a little more explanation than that.
I don't even know.
All right,
that's
he
fair.
doesn't.
Have-
Just so you know, we'll be teaching John about that.
Yeah, after hours.
Off stream, because
Yeah.
that's a little racy, a little sexual.
All right, John, take your pants off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I was thinking about space though, which is right. Someone clip that, because that is a horrible word to not even a meme on it. It's a black hole. You know, it's so much fun to talk about. But I was just thinking about, like, I feel like we're closer and closer to. I always the other night, about 2 weeks ago, I got in a black hole. Sorry, Chad. I'm so sorry. I keep saying that word. But I got into, like, kind of a deep rabbit hole of looking up the images on NASA and other places of what Mars looked like.
Yeah.
And that is the craziest thing. Like, I love that feeling. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's pretty. I like to look at it. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but it's just so intriguing to me. But I don't have, like, I'm smart enough to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
But I wish I was smart enough to understand what actually, like, the results led to. You know what I mean? And what they do
and
mean.
how everything was achieved.
Right.
And all that. Yeah.
This actually leads into something I was just thinking about, which is, like, the idea of being smart enough to understand. All right, so it's not actually that related.
That's all right.
It's just a thought I got to throw out into the world right here. So the movie, the word movie, you know, it kind of evolved from the word talkie.
Oh, yeah. Walkie-talkie.
But do you ever think about the fact that the word movie literally just means, like, they're moving pictures?
Yes.
I did not think about that for my entire life until recently. And it just reminded me how goddamn stupid the human race is when it comes to creating words. That's all. That's all that came into my mind. I just felt like I needed to throw that out there.
It's usually pretty intuitive, but when you, like, grow up with a word before that, like, came into existence before you did, and you only think of it with, like, through association, like, this is that, like, equally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you
English
don't
is
actually
horrible
go
for it.
and think about the linguistics, like, oh, like, that's why that's what it is, you know?
Like
It's
the
really
entire idea of
interesting,
movie is literally just,
Move,
it's moving.
moving.
Well, it's like your eyes.
Yeah.
Reflection of light, coming back, developing it. Yeah. See, this is just horrible
What?
for the podcast. There should be certain things in a podcast
That you're not allowed to talk about?
that you're not allowed to talk about or even go down, because it just is like, do you think we know what we're talking about? Probably not.
I don't
But
even know
hey,
what I'm
maybe our
talking about.
opinion. Do you really think our opinion's worth it? No.
I work in IT and I don't know what I'm talking about.
But true, and that's why it's just is like it's fun to talk about, like, because other people think about it, and so like that's why sometimes I do like Joe Rogan's podcast. I'll be honest, I do like his podcast because he'll get someone on there of high expertise.
Yep.
He
That
has some
is
questions.
really good at sounding like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it always seems like it. But then sometimes they have, like, the UFO one. I've talked about this before on the podcast. The
Yeah.
UFO one, that was pretty legit. The guy that they could
Yeah.
have on, and everything else. Or
It's
like,
a really, really good way to get into conspiracy theories.
oh yeah. Or some of them are just like the comedians that he has on, the
Yeah.
comics.
Just like the
or-
frogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No, it's
weird.
funny.
But it's
I
wish
listened
we
to a
had
lot of
that.
it, like, my freshman year of college and senior year of high school. And then I don't know what happened. It just kind of, like,
It gets old after a
it
while.
just kind of got stale, and I didn't really enjoy it that much anymore. I was feeling too many emotions of conflictingness.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, whatever. I'm not getting enough out of it to put
Stay.
myself through the mental turmoil of having to know between right and wrong. So
Yeah.
I'll just avoid it.
I felt the same way with like
This
H3,
man hates
H3.
morality.
Yeah, it's just easier to avoid the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fair. I felt like H3, I listened a lot. I know Preston even
Mhm.
listened more than me. He listened way before. I think Preston actually showed me H3. And in college, and I listened to it, and then it got to some point where I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It was
just kinda
really
gets
good.
stale. It's all
Yeah.
the luster's not there anymore. It's just like,
Guys, don't tell me this. I want to listen to Lyle.
who's
The Therapy
Lyle?
Gecko.
Well,
Word.
Tyler, to
I
be
don't
honest,
want it
you
to
always
get ruined.
find
It
you
will
always
eventually.
find new podcasts. Like there's a lot of podcasts I find through like TikTok, or there's other
That's
ones where.
reassuring.
Well, yeah, I just
you
find
listen to
new
the same
ones.
Like, I
thing.
wasn't memeing. I meant that's legitimately reassuring.
Oh yeah, it's 100%.
No,
Like
plus if you listen to the same guy for the rest of your life, like, that'd suck.
you can
Hey,
literally.
you should tell that to the Christians. I'm sorry, that was
No.
a bad one.
No, that was great.
That was
That was hilarious.
bad.
Oh, Tyler.
John,
You
I'm
gotta mix
sorry.
it up every couple of years, you know.
John, I'll repent after this one.
That's fine. Your day is
Confess.
coming.
Shame.
But there's like, I feel like sometimes I'll listen to a podcast for a certain reason, like the voice, or I listen to it for like the genre, and I like skipping back and forth. Sometimes I like what they talk about is kind of just as like a deep dive down into whatever's going on, and I'll be like, oh wait, now I'll go listen to sports podcasts. You know who I really like?
JJ Redick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I love it. Is that actually what you're gonna
Who?
say?
Yeah.
Dude,
Actually.
I haven't actually sat down and listened to any of his podcasts
He's a basketball player.
since
Oh,
like
okay.
last year. But I
So I have
love
no
the
idea.
little like TikTok clips.
He's awesome,
No, he's great.
and he's a badass too.
yeah, he's a total
He doesn't give a
badass.
shit.
Yep.
Him and Preston, what's the where they all sit in the barbershop?
LeBron James.
Yeah, the shop. When it first came out, the first start of that,
I couldn't get into it.
I actually liked
LeBron
what they were
James.
talking about. Like it was like sometimes they had other people come on and they were talking about it. Or
It just felt so fake. Like listening to every time LeBron talked on that podcast, I was just like, it just
he's
sounded
interesting.
weird.
I would say
I don't
he's
know.
interesting. I always like talking to like
I was gonna say,
Seeing-
does LeBron just sound weird when he talks? Like,
No, it just sounded like he was
Is
just being
LeBron real?
fake.
well, because
like,
they would
all the
talk about
time.
like sometimes a serious issue, like a national issue that would be
Yeah.
happening.
And I like him as a person.
Yeah, it was just as it always felt like, well, you're there now, you know, like how
Yeah.
do you understand? Or
Yeah,
I'm not even, you know what I mean?
sure.
But it was just as like it was cool to see these guys talk like idols that you watch as a basketball player or like as a basketball fan, and then you're seeing them talk about something kind of like what's the other basketball podcast? There's one.
there's only one more.
No,
There's only two.
I found another one actually.
KD's podcast. You ever listen to that? The et ceteras or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it's a weird college one. I just happened to find it. It was Mitch
Is this related to
Lightfoot.
Kansas in any way?
Yeah, it is 100%.
course.
Mitch Lightfoot, Kansas, and he was just talking about just stuff of what they do, and it's like that's the stuff I kind of like listening because I've always wondered, and you can't find an article about what they do, like a pregame warm up or how actually is Bill Self as a coach, or something
Yeah.
like that, or like what's the worst he's got pissed or something like that. And that's cool. Like I feel like my attention span for a podcast is literally probably as long as we do one. Like a 3-hour podcast or 4-hour podcast, and I gotta go back multiple times a day or multiple times a week to
Yep.
finish it out. Which is like I don't really like that. I don't do a job now.
People
where I
make
can do that.
4-hour podcasts.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's is sometimes 3. H3 was always what, Preston? Three
It's
and a
somewhere
half.
between an hour and a half and like 3.5, 4 hours.
How do you do that?
Well, you get really high and really drunk, and you talk to your friend for 3.5 hours about shit that you like to talk about.
Or they
God,
just
that sounds horrifying.
That's their living though. It's just
Yeah.
like
I mean, I guess if you're making money doing it, that
Yeah,
works,
no, I
but-
think they do a great job. I don't know. I think one of the best basketball podcasts I ever listened to was with Coach K, Calipari. I think it was JJ Redick's podcast, but it could have been
Jason Kids.
who is it?
Andrew Wiggins.
Tim something?
Tim Duncan.
No, he's not a basketball guy. I don't even remember. Anyways,
Tim O'Reilly.
Tim Hirsch.
no.
That's too good.
I think it was 2 first names. Tim something.
Tim and Jim. Why not?
Tim John.
I don't know.
Tim
Some
Jim.
like some bald millennial guy who talks about like money and
John
shit.
Moon.
Generally pretty entertaining. But just like the stuff, like listening to him talk about leadership and all of like the one and done athletes and all the runs they've had in March Madness was just like kind of inspiring, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool because like you can do like podcasts is this something where like you can listen to and you'll catch a funny moment, you catch a serious moment as you're doing other things because it's like you're eavesdropping almost in a conversation.
Yep.
And so you're still tuned in, but you have to do something else so you're not noticed. You know what I mean?
No.
But it's still a fun thing to do because I feel like if we didn't, as much as our friend group talks about, if we even get in deeper of other subjects, that why would we even talk about this unless we were on like a platform where we're like, we're talking about something that's relatable to other people or maybe they're interested about
I mean,
it.
we
where
can
have
talk off
questions.
camera. That's cool.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to talk to you.
But we definitely grow a lot more closer. I know from the last years of being on or when we were doing the podcast. But anyways, thanks for tuning in to our podcast. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
You're-
we love you
you're-
guys.
100%.
Yeah. But
All two of you.
You guys want to talk about one thing before we go?
sure.
One thing.
I got a article
Yeah.
pulled up. You guys hear about that little comet that fell in Maine?
There was
A
a comet
comet?
in Maine.
Yeah, a meteorite fell.
How big was it?
So,
Like by the time it hit Earth.
yeah, it's not that big, but this museum that's in Maine, apparently this is the first comet to hit Maine or something. They're offering $25K for at least a kilogram of this rock recovered, and they've mapped
Holy
out
shit.
a 1 mile radius zone where it could be,
Wow.
and people are just hunting
Going
for it.
nuts.
Dude, I would go
Oh my
fucking
God.
insane.
It's like a
25K.
real life Easter egg or something.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
And
One
like,
piece is real.
I feel like it's even cooler than an Easter egg. You're like, oh, I found an egg. I got 25,000. This is like, oh, I found a
I don't think
piece
it's an
of like
actual egg.
science.
Yeah,
Well,
you
no,
find
I
it, you
mean,
say,
like, you
over
know,
here, and then you're on the run for the rest of your life.
Like you've got like a
Oh,
Mr. Beast.
yeah.
Find the egg, you get $25,000. Or you could do the like real life, like find the meteorite, you get $25,000, and then they'll probably put your name with it.
Tyler, I want to see you
That'd be
get some
nuts.
dirt on you. Just get you a little shovel. and
You
go
should have seen me
nuts.
2 years ago, buddy.
The
Tree
thing
care,
is, though,
baby.
Oh, the
Tree
tree
care.
care.
I didn't know you
the-
did tree care.
There's a mile, like part of this mile radius zone that the meteoroid could be in or whatever, overlaps into Canada.
Oh,
So
God.
now people
Ooh.
are going into Canada and looking
Illegally?
for this. Yeah, they're just looking for this
Oh,
meteorite.
jeez.
That'd be kind of fun. I don't even know how you go about it. But also, like, why?
That's why you just
why is
go,
it worth
"Oops, my bad."
25K? I'd be like,
You could probably auction
For
it
science,
more.
baby.
for
Put it on
science?
eBay.
No way.
Here's another thing: is that if it did land in Canada's zone, can you just take it? You know, like if it's on Canada's soil, like
Yeah.
that. There's like this whole big thing about
Oh
like
my
Big
God.
debate.
rock rights. Who owns this rock?
Okay, so
Nobody.
give
Nobody
me-
owns
let
it.
me be
It
a
came
fly
from
on the
the
wall
sky.
in that conversation. Just as like,
Literally.
no,
Yeah,
this is our rock because of whatever. It's like, what about erosion? What about the northwest wind that hit 65 miles an hour the day before? How much earth is on actually your soil? Like, yeah.
How much earth is on your
I feel like that
soil?
kind of conversation does not exist at this moment.
Who knows? Honestly,
No, Tyler, you're probably right.
You know, it could be. Maybe there's a small town next to where it landed. Small Canadian town. Like,
Stranger
this
Things.
is ours. You know, we'll fight you for it. It's gonna go to court. There's
It's
gonna
a-
be a massive lawsuit from Canada to the U.S.
A militia
Yeah.
forms, a
Yeah.
cult begins, a
World War
Netflix
III.
documentary
Yep.
And
And
we
this,
get to all
my
enjoy
friends, is
it.
why
in about a week.
the Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon.
Why? Because we have to kill Canadians
No,
for
to
a
protect the
meteorite?
rock.
Well, yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass,
yeah,
me, the
pass
rock.
me the rock.
I wonder how light it would be. I bet it'd be pretty light.
Wait,
I mean,
I think
Well,
a
no.
kilogram's a kilogram.
Okay. Imagine, guys, I put all my money on red, and somehow we got enough to actually get a decent,
Chunk.
yeah, like this, like
Yeah,
my hand.
So what do you do with it?
No. I'm saying, how does it
Grapefruit?
feel? No, I'm not going grapefruit on it. I'm not going to keister it either. I'm just trying to see, like, how heavy is it?
but like, what size? Like,
Like
I
this.
feel like there's a few different shapes that I would hold in my hand about this size.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah. What could you hold like this in your hand?
softball. Say softball size.
Softball size?
Softball size.
How heavy?
Now, do you think I'm gonna go like this? Like, oh, if it's lead, I can't even pick
Well,
it
I
up.
don't know. It's probably made out of things that we
It's probably like mostly carbon.
can calculate. Who knows? Maybe some of it's
Actually,
heavy
maybe it's
metals.
probably- there's got to be heavy.
Platinum.
Yeah.
Uranium.
Maybe,
Maybe
it's
this is
all.
why it's so
maybe it's all
expensive.
gold.
Maybe it's fool's gold. Imagine that. Imagine a
Pyrite?
yeah, just pyrite out there just lands down. It's like, oh, it's gold. And
I don't know.
it's fool's gold.
Yeah. What's the average meteorite composed of, Preston? Can I get a chemical composition?
Yeah, I already looked that up.
God, he's proactive.
Yeah, it says
is why we pay you.
100% cum.
Damn.
It's all
so
cum?
think about that in your hand.
Just a chunk of cum
Is it
about
gooey?
the size of a softball.
Just imagine a
yeah, is
gooey
it
end.
wet?
Real gooey.
Sticky?
Does it melt as the heat from your hand go up
And
and
it just fizzled out all over the atmosphere. Droplets of
Right.
cum.
It's kind of what they used to do in high school. The
money.
yeah.
What's
Money
the
shot,
ya?
I think, is the name that you'd be given.
I heard that was a Chaska name. But anyways, Preston, what does it actually consist
Shout
of?
out Chaska.
Yeah, so there are. I'm seeing
Never
that
shout
meteorites
out
are
Chaska.
split into two different categories. There's either iron meteorites, which are mostly iron and rock, and then there's stony meteorites, which are mostly just like conglomerates of different types of
Minerals.
rocky mineral type shit. And yeah, most of the ice actually just like burns off when it
Right,
is
because
coming into
comets
the
are mostly
atmosphere.
ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
but so yeah, it's mostly either iron or it's called palisite. I don't know.
Oh,
Nice.
We're learning stuff.
I love Minecraft.
Space sword.
Space sword.
God, that isn't that crazy? Like, it's also like it's moving at such a fast speed,
Yeah.
coming down.
Burning up.
Which is but side note to that, on TikTok I actually saw the other day. It's pretty nerdy of me actually, to be honest. But it was about a 4-part TikTok.
You're looking
Of,
at
like-
part 2. and
Yeah,
then going for part
4-part
3?
TikTok. Yeah.
Is it some guy sitting in front of the American flag telling a story about bullshit? And
No.
The first
Why
3
the new
parts,
Bud Light commercial is going to be the downfall
the first
of
3
America?
parts sound like but it's building and it's building and it's building, and he keeps kind of jerking you off a little bit, tickle your balls here, there, just to keep you engaged. Then you get to the end, it's like, oh,
It's all jerk, no finish.
all jerk, no finish.
Little blue ball.
No, it was actually, to be honest, it was different vehicle speeds in the Star Wars universe.
I feel like it would get fun. I
It's
love
awesome.
This is
I
much more
love the
interesting.
videos where it's like, size comparisons of the average man versus this character in Avengers.
Yeah, I like those.
But it was cool because they showed the beginning of like maybe the smallest vehicle of it, which is crazy because I didn't think like George Lucas ever like talked into something like that.
Yeah.
Like about the physics of it.
Yeah.
But they showed the miles per hour and the kilometers.
Kilometers, yeah.
Kilometers.
Kilometers.
Guys, maybe we get a little freestyle going here. But anyways, they showed from the beginning, and then they showed getting higher up, and then they showed the speed of sound comparison, and then they showed you the next wave of like 10 other things that were actually faster. Blew my mind. That's awesome. Like now, if I rewatch, which I will many times, rewatch Star Wars again, I would be like, holy, that thing's traveling at
That thing's going
3,000
crazy
miles
fast.
per hour.
Yeah, Castle Run.
John,
under 12
before
parsecs
I go to
zero.
bed,
Yeah,
or
literally.
before I die, I'm gonna put you in a Blackbird just to see how you react.
I want to see
Tyler,
John under 7
before you go to bed, I'm
Gs.
going to put you in a
Going more
coffin.
than Mach 2. Actually, I don't even know how fast a Blackbird can go.
Tyler, you and I have been
Fastest
mocked to
plane.
many a time.
I want to see,
What?
John and Tyler Mach 2 after hours.
Tyler
I'm
and I
scared.
mock.
I'm going to bed.
Tyler and I can mock a lot of things. We mocked a few
You guys
things.
would do a good job mocking just about anyone I know.
And with that,
Thanks for tuning in tonight, everyone.
It's been
the
real.
conglomerate of a meteorite of a podcast just
Yeah.
came down on us,
Yeah,
and not
just-
much was left afterwards.
Yeah.
It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. But we have
Yeah.
to go.
And stay tuned for the after hours. Make sure you check our socials. We're going to be streaming CSGO on Thursday. And find us everything at LooneyBin Productions. And check out our YouTube videos.